So it's time to talk about financial red alerts. It's based, of course, on the Star Trek alert system, but the financial red alert is a situation you find yourself in. Now, here you see the picture of the debt black hole. This is the concept that I have, this supermassive debt black hole that we're all orbiting around, okay? So in the middle, you've got the bankruptcy, the event horizon here, where you get sucked into this. Now, a lot of people spend some of their lives here in the debt accelerator area. This is where this line starts through this little purple area before you actually hit bankruptcy. This is the area where the gravitational pull is insanely strong. And then whenever you're out here in this situation, in this particular area, the purchase sphere, this is where most people spend their lives buying stuff. In fact, they flirt with the edge of the debt accelerator on several occasions of their life, just going back and forth and just trying to scrounge up enough money to be able to pay their bills. So a lot of people find themselves just kind of crisscrossing this line right here most of their adult lives. Now, this area right here, the purchase sphere, is whenever this is a normal consumer type lifestyle. Once you cross outside of that to the darker gray here, the outer debt barrier, this is where most people would like to be. A lot of people would like to be, where maybe you just have a mortgage, maybe you just have some small student loans you have to deal with, but no major debt. You're not a huge consumer. You save enough money. And of course, the area completely outside the supermassive debt black hole is where a lot of people would love to be, where you're completely debt-free. That is whenever you pass into the debt-free zone, this white area back here. Now you see, since I'm using Star Trek references, that I have several ships from the Star Trek universe over here to use as an example. Now, this is the Galaxy-class starship that I mentioned last time in the first of this series. The biggest of the ships that we'll be talking about. Second biggest is the Intrepid class, like the USS Voyager. This is like the USS Enterprise D, 1071D. This is the USS Voyager. This one right here, the Defiant class, that would be the Defiant from Deep Space Nine. And then you have the Danube class runabouts from Deep Space Nine and the other Star Trek series as well. So what happens when most of us start our consumer lives? Well, we want to get the biggest and the best, right? So what do? We go out and buy the biggest house, the nicest cars, and we get into debt by spending money on credit cards to fill up this big giant ship. Now, of course, this is not to scale, and again, I apologize for the horrible special effects. I don't have the personal resources myself to hire Industrial Light and Magic to do this for me, so I have to use very crude special effects in this particular video. So you find yourself in the purchase sphere. Maybe you're here at the debt accelerator line because this big massive ship is very difficult to keep powered. The resource demand is insane because not only are you constantly in orbit, but you have to power your life support. You have to power your weapon system, your shields, and all the other things that are required to run a household. So you are the captain of your financial ship, and a lot of the times in your life you'll find yourself back and forth along this line here, the debt accelerator line, and inside the purchase sphere. But the whole point is to try to avoid getting pulled, getting sucked into the middle of the supermassive debt black hole into the area of bankruptcy. It is not a fun experience. I've been there. But if you find yourself in this position right now where you have a huge house payment, you have huge car payments, you have huge debt payments that you're having to make, and you're having a hard time reaching it, maybe you're only paying minimums, maybe you can't even pay your minimums on a lot of your debt, then that is cause for an automatic financial red alert. Now, this right here, this represents the area that if you find yourself within this area, you should automatically hear that sound, the financial red alert sound. Yeah, that sound right there should automatically be going off in your head because right now you are in a very sticky situation. The gravitational pull of the debt black hole is extremely strong, and you really need to get out of that situation really, really fast. Now, what will happen is you find yourself in this situation, you're already in a red alert, and then what happens? Well, a Romulan appears. Now, I'll pull the Romulan in here. The reason I do that is because a Romulan, I'll call them the debt collectors, because once you get pulled in here, the debt accelerator, you find yourself having more and more difficulty to pay your bills, the debt collectors start to call and contact you. They send the letters, they make the phone calls, they're harassing, and that's why I decided to make them the Romulans, because they're very, very manipulative, can be very deceitful, not in all cases, but in a lot of cases, very rude. You're not sure why they're acting the way they are, you know, kind of aggressive but subversive, in the way that they're doing it. So the Romulans are attacking you, which is eating up more of your resources, which means you're getting closer to the middle of the debt black hole. And at some point, your ship just gives up. That's the point where you have no choice but to file bankruptcy because everything has been attacking you and you don't have the resources to keep such a big ship running. Now, even if you have a small ship, now let's consider the Galaxy class ship, the 4 or 5 bedroom with the media room in it and the big giant backyard with a pool and all of those other expenses that go along with it and huge tax obligations. Even if you have an Intrepid class, if you don't have enough money, if you're not making enough income to be able to pay those resources that I keep talking about to run your ship, you're still going to find yourself in the same position. So if you find yourself in a Galaxy class starship or even in an Intrepid class, I wouldn't recommend you downgrade to the Defiant class because even the power requirements for that is pretty impressive. What you need to do is just downgrade. I'm talking all the way down. Now remember, this is a temporary move because if you don't, either one of two things is going to happen. All of these people, now let's bring the Borg in here. The Borg are in here because they're the collective. They want you to conform. They want you to be exactly like them, right? These are your family and friends, the people who tell you, spend the money, go on these vacations, get into debt, do all of this stuff. They want you to be part of the collective. So they're attacking you. The Romulans, as you owe money to people, they're attacking you. Next thing you know, the Klingons. Who are the Klingons? These are the companies who want you to spend money with them. These are the advertisers, the aggressive. The Klingons are very aggressive advertisers and marketers who want you to spend money with them. So all of these people are attacking you all the time, and it's just impossible for you to keep up, to be able to have enough resources because your life support will be failing, your shields will be failing, you'll have no navigational control. It's just not a fun situation to be in, even if you're in an Intrepid class. So my suggestion is to find a nice, quick runabout and downgrade to that. Now that could be, a 2-bedroom apartment, a nice small 1 or 2 bedroom condo, whatever it is that's cheaper so that you can pay off whatever you have to pay. You can run away from the Klingons, the marketing messages and stuff like that. You can run away from them. You can run away from all of the friends and family who, and it's not all your friends and family, it's just some of your friends and family who want you to be part of the collective and spend like they spend. And then once you pay off this stuff, the Romulans will just go away. They'll just go away because you won't owe them any money. So you'll be able to put more of your resources if you're in a smaller resource hog, because the Galaxy-class starships, even the Intrepid-class starships, huge resource hogs. But if you're in a Danube-class runabout, you'll have more money that you can throw at your debt problem, and that way you can get out of the red alert situation faster, and you can get further and further away from the center of the debt black hole. That is the point. Now, not to get you all your hopes up, I do want to point out, and I'll bring this back over here. Remember this right here, this section right here, if you find yourself within this area of the supermassive debt black hole, that is an automatic financial red alert situation right there. And again, that sound, yeah, that'll be going off in your head automatically. But there are times whenever maybe you've paid off everything and you've upgraded to a Defiant class or maybe even an Intrepid class. You're in the USS Voyager, your own Voyager, right? So you'll find yourself here in the debt-free zone, or even hovering close to the outer debt barrier here with maybe just a little bit of a house payment. Next thing you know, you're a successful business person or you're making a lot of money. Next thing you know, well, it's not collectors this time. Instead, it's lawyers. Why? Because you've been sued. Now, there are situations that you could be out here in the middle of the debt-free zone or in the outer debt barrier, and the financial red alert signal will go off. And the reason being is because you're being attacked by something. Now, this could be medical bills. Maybe you have an illness that pops up that you weren't expecting. Even if you, again, if you've been sued, which is not a fun situation to be in either, all of those situations could potentially warrant a financial red alert, even if you're outside of this particular area. But remember, you are the captain of your financial ship. So you have a lot of leeway to determine what is or what isn't a financial red alert, because in this situation, if you ended up with a medical issue, right, that could just be a financial yellow alert, something to be cautious and concerned about, but nothing so bad as a Romulan decloaking off your bow there. So you have to kind of determine that as the captain, because you are responsible for your own ship. That is the biggest point I want to make. You're responsible for it. Don't blame others. The Romulans, the Klingons, the Borg, whoever it is that may be attacking you or convincing you, they're not controlling you. You control you. You control your behavior. You control your ship. So you have to take control of your ship. You have to take control of your own financial situation. So next week we're going to talk about the financial yellow alert. But I want you to remember the financial red alert is the highest level of alert you can possibly get in a financial situation. It is extremely important that you pay attention to where you are surrounding the debt black hole, because we're all part around, either orbiting out closer to the center or out in the outskirts of the debt black hole, the debt-free zone, the purchase sphere, the outer debt barrier, or you're within the debt accelerator and getting closer and closer to the middle of the supermassive debt black hole, to where you might actually have to file for bankruptcy. Now keep in mind, the situations that I talked about are not a comprehensive list of things that could happen that would cause a financial red alert. There are several different things that could happen that would cause that. But again, it's your financial life. You know your financial situation. So if you think it warrants it, then it should be a financial red alert. If you think it doesn't warrant it, well, again, that's up to you. But if you're anywhere close to that area right there, I would say that is an automatic financial red alert situation, no matter your personal opinion about it. Only if you're further out of the purchase sphere, further out of the outer debt barrier, or in the debt-free zone, do you have the right to say that, yes, this is a financial red alert situation, or maybe it's a yellow alert, or maybe it's a blue alert situation. And we'll talk more about the different kinds, the different levels, the financial alert system, in the upcoming weeks. So again, I appreciate you watching. See you next time.